Well, so for us, it really comes down to in a two general categories. We're delivering, labor services, and we're delivering probably some sort of physical build or structure. So one thing we're going to look at is our best guess. Once we get as much information as we can, what's our best guess at what our actual cost is going to be? And so that's one way that we're just going to check and measure our profitability. And the second is how many hours of labor is it going to take us to deliver? How many is it? Is it 124 man hours in the shop to pull, prep, and fabricate? Is it it's going to be 86 man hours to install it at show site? Is it going to be 58 hours to dismantle and repack it all for shipment back to its home base? Is any of that happening on straight time, and what's happening on overtime? And so anyway, so it's for us, a lot of it is a math equation. Where it can get a little bit squirrely is once we're delivering some of those things that we're using one of our local collective partners for. For example, you need a caterer to be part of this event that we're delivering, or they want a big balloon archway, and that's, this is a partner we will deliver that for because they're asking us to be those guys. Is there 4 site inspections that we have to do just to get it right? You ain't lived until you've done an event, an old school South Beach in a 1950s hotel, and you're sharing the hallways with the kitchen staff and the right. How do you move stuff in and out? So anyway, we try and do all the due diligence we can to figure out what the actual
I
costs
think
are.
our approach is completely different than that. From a profit perspective, or when you're really looking at costs and revenue, we think of it very differently. I mean, I think we really do operate under the do the right thing for the customer, and the money is going to work itself out. And in aggregate, that's worked for the agency. Part of that has to do with the type of work that we're pursuing and that we want to do, and then trusting our team to be able to manage to those parameters.
Can I ask, Greg, do you have to also trust the customer that scope of work changes and they're going to be okay with whatever you build?
A lot of that is negotiated, or we will talk about scope creep and how we're going to deal with that from a budget standpoint. I think where we'll walk away, or where we'll become much more skeptical, is when the expectation is at one level and the budget is just not. And a lot of that is just experience with knowing you cannot deliver the product or service that the client wants at the budget figure that they're quoting. And I'm talking big, not in the weeds. They're just saying we have X and we think that should be 2X. That's where we're not going to we're going to be a lot more careful about pursuing those types of opportunities. We need to be in the same.
What's that conversation like, Greg, with whenever that does happen, when a client comes in or a new customer with a project and their expectations are up here, but for that budget, it really needs to be half that.
I think that we're having these conversations a lot more frequently because of the cost of what's happened within our industry. You take trucking, AV, the statistics on the things that the building blocks that it takes to execute events everything is more expensive, and not by a little bit, right? Yet, I was at a conference last week, and marketers, their budgets have not increased. Their expectations have not decreased, but the costs are all more. So
and there's digital and virtual elements they're adding without increasing the budget.
There's still an education gap that really has to be made, and we will lean on statistics that we have from current projects that we're working on to help educate them. But a lot of our marketing stakeholders, even in the C-suite, are asking us to help advise accounting, finance, however that organization is structured, on what's happening within our industry. So, because something's got to give. Either their expectations need to be decreased, the number of attendees needs to be decreased, if the budget is not going to track in line with what's happening with costs. So all of that's kind of, it's a really messy equation right now, and it's very relevant because of the radical spike in costs for a lot of the things that we provide.